Hello,
Hello.
hello, hello, Madhuri.
I think we are streaming now. So I would like to open the event, if it's okay. So good afternoon and good evening to all of our participants and to everyone who is watching live at the moment on Facebook. Welcome to the EATSA Cafe Lab Special Women's Day edition. My name is Kitty Hazel, and together with Simona de Cortis and Sanchirag Day, I had the privilege to organize this event. So before we start, I would like to say a couple of words, but I will try to be short. So first of all, as a PhD student from the University of Pannonia from Hungary, it's a really unique opportunity for me to participate in different EATSA events. And I would like to grab this opportunity to thank the EATSA president, Enrico Panai, for creating a platform where we can talk with EATSA researchers and get inspired and learn, and in the process also to learn about ourselves as students. So Enrico, thank you very much for the opportunity. And for me personally, it was a really exciting week because this is the first time that I'm organizing any kind of semi-official event, even though it's through the internet. So I hope that though in tone, it can be something of a coffee with acquaintances, but in content, it will be something valuable for everyone who is listening, because when I read the proposed topics, I really felt like we are going to have some really valuable experience today. And in the name of the organizers, I would also like to thank everyone who joined today, who liked the idea and really gave space to it to grow and fill it with content. So thank you for joining. As we are talking about International Women's Day, as a PhD student, I'm fully aware how privileged I am to be here, and not just because of the reasons I've mentioned, but also because it's 2021 and still there are like thousands of girls who don't have the means or the right for education and for learning. And I feel like even though I never had to really strain myself to get access to education and to learn, I know this is not coming so easily to everyone. So it's important that at least one day we focus a bit on women, and as our research or our field of experience is in tourism, we do it in tourism. So I know that we can't reach everyone even through the internet, and I know that even though tourism directly or indirectly affects a lot, maybe these topics are not going to talk to all. I hope some people will hear it and it will motivate them to step on the road to becoming a researchers, because there are tremendous opportunity on the field. So I'm sure that I am going to have some new perspectives and new ideas. So thank you again for sharing your time, your knowledge, and your ideas with us today. And thank you for listening. And without further ado, I would like to introduce our first two presenters, Dr. Yanki Hartijasti and Virginie Noppe. And they are going to talk about entrepreneurship and challenges in tourism. This is two presentations after each other, so please don't ask questions between the presentations. We are going to have time to discuss afterwards. So Dr. Hartijasti, I would like to give the imaginary virtual microphone to you now. Thank you very much for being here. And you didn't unmute yourself because I see you're talking, but I can't hear you.
Okay. So, sorry. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to talk about local wisdom-based female sociopreneur. So, have you ever heard a story from someone who made you feel inspired? I did. So, I have a PhD student who lives in a remote area located in West Kalimantan, Indonesia. So at the age of 24, she was inspired to create a learning model for stimulating entrepreneurial skills among students in an Islamic boarding school in her area. When she told me her dream in early 2019, I thought she was just telling me about an idealistic topic for the sake of her PhD proposal. After disappearing due to her hectic activities and pandemic for 2 years, she told me about her initial sociopreneurial model. So I was amazed by her progress and at the same time very proud of her. Let me share you her inspirational stories. Her basic education in 2 cities in Java Island has given her a lot of lessons learned, from the most bitter to the wonderful life experiences. From a low self-esteem and hard-headed child feeling isolated from her family, she has been transformed into a tough and independent lady who has high concern with the local community's welfare. After finishing her master's degree in 2017, she was appointed to manage entrepreneurial program in an Islamic boarding school. As an alumni at that school, she feels challenged by the life situation of her students and the surroundings community, which has affected the economic condition of the boarding school. Most of the students could not pay monthly tuition fees and food allowance at that time. Their parents were low-income farmers and or blue-collar workers. Even before COVID-19 pandemic, they had difficulty in selling crops or getting permanent job. Moreover, many parents complained that it was useless and a waste of money to send them studying in that school because there was no guarantee to get a permanent job. Many of them still asking money from their parents until now. Since then, her journey has started to sparkle. After selected as a young farmer ambassador representing her region to the national level in 2018, she had attended several programs related to entrepreneurship, such as business incubator, comparative study at the modern Islamic boarding school, product packaging school, social media marketing, which were funded by the local government and the boarding school between 2017 and 2020. Her dream is to empower her student and local community by selling local products they have invented and originated from natural resources growing around their boarding school. In 2018, they have been able to produce and sell products that reflect local wisdom harvested from their organic plantation. As a source of the school and the local community's livelihood, two competitive products were chosen: white pepper and Arabica coffee. These products were chosen to replace rubber, which has a drastic price reduction since 2015 due to its quality. Traditionally, white pepper is used as spices in daily cooking processes, while coffee is a part of a daily consumption and a welcoming drink for guests. The locals also believe that drink coffee can be used as an antidote to fever and colds. You can see these products or even purchase them at their Instagram account at merchalam_. So from her inspiring stories, I can imagine that it was not easy to get support from the community and even from alumni to market their products to a wider network. The main objective of producing and selling the products is to subsidize operational costs and monthly school fees of students studying in the boarding school. Choosing the right learning method that is suitable to their financial condition and the location of the boarding school in a remote area is the hardest challenge. Trainers may not be willing to come to their place or asking expensive fees. Amazingly, after several trial and errors for 2 years, her team has succeeded to come up with an initial best-fitted model of sociopreneurship customized to their local condition. Their model consists of the right blending of students, alumni, trainers, and the chaplain who have a high social spirit and desire to advance children in need, and of course, her role as sociopreneur. Although their products have not widely known due to limited knowledge of social media marketing, but with her noble effort and unstoppable desire to learn, I believe in the near future, they will be a highly demanded products across the nation. So I am also sure with her persistency spirit, there will be another creations coming soon. So have it so. You are my truly inspirational woman. Happy International Women's Day to all great women around the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yanki. It was really great and inspiring. I can't wait for the discussion. But before that, I would like to give the word now to Virginie Noppe. Do I pronounce your name correctly? Because we had a discussion and
yes, Virginie Noppe, yeah.
Okay, I will practice further.
Is it okay? Do you see my screen? Yes? Good.
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I am very lucky to be here. I am happy and proud to share the work realized since 4 years to promote the destination of the Somme in the north of France. My name is Virginie Noppe. I am digital marketing manager at the Somme Tourist Board in Amiens. I am Google Street View approved, Google DMO partner, Google Local Guide, and trusted verifier since 2016. I will explain you today the different actions I use to promote the destination through the different Google platforms. As a local guide, our main goal is to create point of interest, share photos and reviews with smartphone. This action will give the opportunity to visitors and inhabitants to appreciate the incredible landscapes and to show on Google Maps amazing point of interest near the place they are located. They can also share their own opinions and photos. 1 billion of people use Google Maps every month. This is, for example, one of the first points of interest we have created in 2016. This is a point of view where visitors can see the colony of seals in the Bay of the Somme. Today, there is more than 650 reviews and a lot of photos shared on this site. In the same time, we have trained tourism professionals to understand how can they use Google My Business to promote their business. With trusted verifier, for example, they can get the ownership of their Google My Business profile quickly. Let's focus now on our last project, Vallée de Somme 360. Our goal was to cover this new destination to get more visibility of this destination on Google platforms. We have covered 312 kilometers of pass by bike, by walk, and by kayak. 384,000 of photos were posted on Google Street View in July 2020. Look at the view. This is a view on the Old Somme River by canoe. Another view from the two paths by electric bike from the east of the department to the coast. We cover also coast path by walk. This is an incredible view and the colors. It's very important because clients can see the destination before coming. In total, we have created 427 points of interest on our destination, and 24 million of views have been recorded. It's very important. We have also shared more than 6,300 photos. 46 million of you have been recorded since 4 years. It's incredible. I think that our job helps people to discover our destination. Our contributions are useful and help visitors to discover the destination. Let me show a small videos. This is a Google Earth project with the photos we have made last summer. If it's work. I think it's difficult, no? So you can see the pictures, pictures 360, and you can discover the destination with our pictures. We will continue this project and making some photo 360 along the cycle path, because there is no pictures on this passes. I will stop now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I always look at the Google Street Views, but I never think about the tremendous work that puts into it, that someone actually has to walk through that path. So thank you for opening my eye to this issue also. So I would like to open a bit of space for discussion. So if anyone has a question or comment or thought, then please feel free to share it now. Just waiting. No, someone is unmuted. I can't see who it is. Simona. Okay. So it was really interesting for me that I just mentioned that not everyone has the access to education without knowing what Yanki is going to talk about, and then the story was about someone who has to go through so many steps to do what they are doing at the moment. So it just makes me think more about how easy it was for me to get here actually. So it's really nice. Okay, is there anyone who has anything to add, or should we go with the next topic?
I would like to ask. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I would like to ask something from Yanki about this boarding school that you mentioned. So how old are the students there, and how does it work? So do they stay there for the whole semester, or do they stay there for the week, or you said that for some of them it's difficult to cover the fees. Is it like an elite school, or so who are the students who are studying there, how old they are, how they get there? I'm just curious about the whole school that's behind this project.
Okay, it's an Islamic boarding school, and it's common in around Indonesia. Yeah, it's, because we want to help. They want to help the literacy problem in Indonesia, so they stay in the boarding school since depending on the parents, but they have from the basic education is there. Yeah, so they can stay from kindergarten to the high school. Yeah, depending on the financial condition. But that's why since the the pandemic and also the crops is not doing well, so that means there's a financial problem, right? So why not they just, and then the students coming from just surrounding, and since they are good also in the as an Islamic boarding school, so from other from the cities or from other region in Kalimantan, they sometimes come even for, how do you say, the comparative study, or just to what's that, make for 2 months, and then they want to know more about that boarding school from Java Island or other island around Indonesia. They want to learn about how they manage, and sometimes they can offer the visiting students can offer also help, and this is also one of the idea got from the visiting students from Java Island. So there is an exchange of knowledge. So that because of this financial condition, so that's why she wants to empower the students, so that the students also can also have equipped with the skills, entrepreneurial skills, because usually the complaint is that they're not ready to get job. So this is what's her concern, and it's very that's why I'm really impressed about her, because it's just now she's only 26. During my time, I don't think I was able to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tamara.
Yes, Sanchi, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell Virginie. So I actually, I'm pronouncing your name right? I just had a little observation. So I had been looking at Google Maps, Google Earth a lot during lockdown. Just, well, you're stuck at home, you don't know what to do. So why not? Let's explore the world that way. And I saw that the pictures, the street view that you see, they have a little name on the bottom there showing who's taken it. And for the whole year, I genuinely thought that, oh, they're just like a secret society of people who's just, taking pictures 360 degrees and giving them out. And
yes.
And
sorry,
I'm just, can you hear me?
No, sorry. Can you explain me again?
Oh, no, I was just saying that I genuinely thought for like a year, I was just sitting home in lockdown and I was watching Google Earth a lot.
Yes.
For street views, and it has a little name at the bottom showing who has taken the picture. And I genuinely thought that, people take these 360-degree pictures and send it somewhere specifically, and anybody could do it. But it's so nice to know that there's more work that goes behind it.
Yes.
To just, compile all of them.
You can easily make 360 photos with your smartphone. But it's sometimes difficult because it moves. So, but yeah. You can. Everyone can take photos. So, in order to share their best point of interest, and it's very easy.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for your questions, and thank you for your answers. So, does anybody would like to ask something more to comment, or we can move on to the next subject? Okay? Okay, we move on. So, first of all, me too, I would like to thank you all, okay, for being here. I'm very moved, very happy. Thank you. So we move to our next subject, which is female roles and skills in tourism. Our presenters will be Eunice Almeida Duarte. I hope I pronounced it well. Tamara Rátz and Carlotta Vazzoler. Thank you. Okay, so we will start with Eunice, who will talk about the importance of women in tourism. Thank you, Eunice. I think Eunice is not there. Maybe we lost her. So we move on with Tamara. Okay, waiting for Eunice to come back. Tamara, okay. I give you my microphone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I can start. Okay, so this is what I'm going to share is Very, very few results, just very briefly, of research we have been doing with my colleague, Ákos Kátai, for more than a decade. We started analyzing the skills and competencies of our students who have to do a compulsory internship in the last year of their studies. And first, what we did was asking the students how they perceived their own level of skills and competences. We use 56 different items in this research. And we also asked the companies where the students are performing their internship. And then we compare the profile of this so-called ideal employee with the students' actual skills and competences. And then we also did a second round of we are also doing a second round of this research, asking the students themselves to evaluate their own skills and competences, how they perceive their own performance. And for this webinar, I decided to compare the male and female perceptions of skills and competencies, and I already got a very few slides for you. On the first two slides, you see a long list of different skills and competences, from written communication skills through planning, and you see that basically there is well, differences obviously between male and female students, as we expected. Fortunately, what we can see on this slide and the next one, and I'm not going to focus too much on this, is that fortunately there are some skills where the girls, the female students, feel that they are stronger, they are better. And then also there are some skills where the male students perceive their own level as higher. And since 5 minutes is a very short time, I just want to show the strengths and the weaknesses. And with red, I highlighted those skills and competencies where there is a statistical difference between male and female students. Some of the strengths are the same, as you can see. And I also have to point out that reliability and honesty were those competencies that were seen as the most important for anybody in a tourism job. Obviously, when you have interactions with clients, you have to be reliable, you have to be honest. And it was good to see that both the male and the female students saw themselves, perceived themselves as reliable and honest, and also helpful. So there was no difference between the two groups. But there are also, of course, some differences. For example, among the male students, who generally, and that was also interesting, perceived the level of skills and competencies slightly lower. So the highest, on a 1 to 5 scale, the highest figure for male students was for honesty, 4.38. And the highest for the ladies in the group, 4.63. So, which was for me, that was a positive sign that there are some areas where the female students understand that they are really good. But sense of humor, that seemed to be a male characteristic for the women. It came at the very end of this list. And success orientation also seemed to be something that the male students perceived for themselves as a much higher level. And the second group, the weaknesses, was what was really interesting for me. The lowest figure in the whole study was self-confidence among female students, only 3.06. So despite the fact that, if we just go back for a second, despite the fact that there were lots of skills and competencies where they had higher perception levels than the male group, still their self-confidence was the lowest. And that was, for me, it was a little sad, obviously, because we really put a lot of effort into telling our students, showing our students, our female students, that they can really achieve anything. And when I was thinking about what to talk about today, and there was in this little form that we had to send in for participation, there was a question, who inspires me, or what kind of female role models I have. And I have so many female students who really inspire me. I have amazing female students. So using the results of this study, we also hope to build their confidence, their self-confidence. Of course, they are students. So these are students, so obviously professional knowledge, professional experience levels were perceived as relatively low in both groups. And it was also interesting to see that among the males, the familiarity with the rules and especially compliance with the rules was also seen as a lower level than in the female group. And since they are tourism students, despite the fact that they are studying business, they have lots of quantitative subjects and business subjects, their perceived level of quantitative skills was relatively low in both groups. Often, I don't know how it's in your countries, and I would be very, very happy to do a cross-cultural, intercultural analysis, similar one, because I'm sure that the results would be different. It was interesting to see that the quantitative skills were again perceived as something relatively low in both groups. So I think 5 minutes was enough for this much, but I'm very happy. I would be very happy to share more details, more data with anybody who is interested in this topic, and I would be very, very happy to do a cross-cultural analysis. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tamara. Thank you. So Eunice, unfortunately, she cannot reconnect. So after Carlotta, Kitty will share with us her presentation, okay, because we have it. So now I give the word to Carlotta Vazzoler. Thank you, Carlotta.
Thank you to you. Thank you to you all. I'm glad to be here today with you all. I would like to share with you some slides that I prepared for the occasion. So I go on. The presentation. I will talk about women empowerment, and I really thank Tamara for what she said, because I will take advice of what she told about women and men, and about adaptability and improvisation and self-confidence, because they are really on what I worked on this project in Italy. So I just present myself like a little bit, something about me. So I'm working since 30 years in tourism and hotellerie world. At the age of 35, I was a general manager for an international group, a core group, and in Venice I take care for 10 years about the hotel and the hotel. I was general manager there. Since 30 years, I'm a senior business consultant, and in this field, in tourism and hotellerie, it's my passion. Hotels and tourism is my passion. So I worked there since I was at university. I got a degree at Padua University in modern and foreign languages and literatures. And now I also coordinate and organize events, because I like to work with the Made in Italy. I like to work with tourism, but also with all the other sectors, about fashion, about food and wine, and about art, about cultural events. And so I put all together, and I like organizing such events. I am also a trainer and a coacher in leadership, management, and change. Then I write also for this international Fédération Internationale des Journalistes et d'Écrivains. And then I am also I am delegate for Marisa Bellisario Foundation in Italy. So EATSA asked me who was the woman who inspired me.
Carlotta, sorry for interrupting you. We can't see your slides. Do you want me to share it because I have your slides?
Yeah, you don't see the slide?
I don't see it, sorry.
Ah, sorry. All right. If you can, I don't understand.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Which page are we?
The third. Go on, yeah. Sorry for this.
Is it good now?
It's good now, yeah. I got inspired. Thank you so much.
Just tell me next and then I will step.
All right. So Marisa Bellisario inspired me. She represents the challenge and gender equality winning. In 1984, she joined the Italian National Commission for Equality among women and men. And then she completed her life to setting up a series of initiatives for women entrepreneurs and implementing also policies on women's jobs. That's why now I am one of the delegates for the Marisa Bellisario Foundation, founded by Lella Golfo. Kitty, you can go on. The next slides about Marisa Bellisario and foundation president Lella Golfo, who is now represents Marisa Bellisario Foundation in Italy. Go on, Kitty, because now comes the project, and that's why I take advantage of Tamara's job, because she told us about women adaptability. So women are very good in adaptation, to adapt themselves in the changement. So they are able to serve the changement. They have but low confidence, low self-confidence, you told us, and they have low improvisation skills. So I worked on datas. I worked on the nowadays datas because nowadays health emergency has exposed some of the fragility of our social system. And most of all, it weakened certainties and consolidated ways of life. And most of all, these economic and social consequences of epidemic have worked on the already existing inequalities between women and men. That's why, and some data you know already, for example, in the Italian context, 2018 saw female employment rate at 49% in Italy, corresponding the male rate at 67.6%. And then also in Italy, it varies from the north to the south. So reading these data, I worked last year on a project dedicated to female empowerment in order also to favor the reduction of inequality and stimulate greater participation of women in the economic and as a driver of economic efficiency. That's why I worked on, we called the Veneto, il Veneto delle Donne, the Veneto Women Value for Growth. And I worked in pair with ENAIP Veneto and with the Veneto region in support. And we worked out this project. We are now working on this project, which is alive now since September 2020, because we are working on female human capital, because we think human capital is a keystone for the restart of Veneto businesses. Let's go on, Kitty. So main partners of this project is ENAIP, Veneto, and Fondazione Bellisario. I gave you the two seats where you can also have much more information about ENAIP, Veneto, and Fondazione Bellisario. And then go on, Kitty. We have, thanks to Regione del Veneto, we were able, with the support and the finance of Regione del Veneto, we were able to produce this project. So the new slide, the next slide, Kitty, is about the project, which is a result of a permanent laboratory in which 10 managers and 10 workers, female, work together to empower themselves. We worked on precise topics such as personal branding, self-confidence, Tamara, on self-confidence, on emotional intelligence, on change, on public speaking, and also on personal branding, on job satisfaction. And what is important is that we conceived this project together with other stakeholders. And also in the next slide, Kitty, we have all the partnership that we were able to set in Italy and in the region, in Veneto. And so we have associations, foundations, cultural foundations, universities working with us and strengthening this kind of work on the territory. So we will give this power to these 10 entrepreneurs together with these 10 workers, female workers, and all together we are working on this women empowerment. The first public, in the next slide, you will see the next, the first public webinar that we have organized with Ca' Foscari Challenge School. And so we are really proud because this year, all this year, up to September 2021, we will work on this value, on this empowerment to give to women. And so, next slide, which is the last, I'm grateful and I thank President Enrico Panay and EATSA for this opportunity, because I'm really glad to be part of this membership. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlotta. So now, if anybody has some questions or some comments, we have a few minutes. First of all, we need to share Eunice work. Okay, I think Kitty can do it, so we can see it even if she's not there. Thank you, Kitty.
Yes. So we have received a PPT and a small audio from her. And meanwhile, I was consulting with everyone if it will be audible, if I just share it. So I will try. Please let me know if you can hear it.
First of all, I would like to thank you for the invitation.
So do you hear it if I do that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Then I'm also
we can
sharing
hear.
my screen and I will try to change slides on the correct beat. Let me just open it 1 second, because yes. Okay. All right. I was not prepared, so that's why the delay. All right. You should see the slides also, and I will.
Unfortunately, for personal reasons, I will not be able to present this, having recorded it instead. At the end of my presentation, I will leave my contact information so you can reach me if you're interested in the topic. UNESCO has defined 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, 4 of which being for gender equality issues. Today being the International Women's Day, it's important to take stock of the situation regarding the role of women in tourism. Despite the lengthy literature review, I will only focus on some data. In this sense, I've made a comparison between the data of men and women in terms of employability in the European Union and in my country, Portugal. According to Eurostat, the employment rate of men aged 24 to 64 is approximately 79% in Europe and 80% in Portugal, having increased by 2019. Unfortunately, it is not yet possible to present data for 2020 due to the effects of COVID-19. The female employment rate has been slowly increasing in the European Union. According to Eurostat, in 2019 it was approximately 68%. In Portugal, this figure was approximately 72%, which is 4% higher. The male employment rate in Portugal is 41.9%, with 5.4% of that being in the tourism sector. At the economic level, these 134,325 jobs will represent approximately 3 million euros in wages. The female employment rate in Portugal is 58.1%, with 7.7% of that being in the tourism sector. But at the economic level, these 186,440 jobs will represent approximately 2 million euros in wages. On the one hand, there are more women employed in tourism. On the other, it's important to study what functions they perform, since the economic value of their employability is 1 million euros below that of men, which in a first reading refers to the fact that the highest paid positions will be taken up by male employees. In Portugal, 6 out of every 10 employees in the tourism industry are women. However, women's wages are still lower than men's. Although in Portugal there's gender equality when it comes to hiring for positions in tourism, this is not the case for pay. Despite the fact that inequality at the global level of employment decreases, there's still an imbalance in hiring and salary due to gender. Even though the numbers in Portugal and the evolution at the level of the European Union show an improvement, unfortunately there's still a lot of work to do in the fight for the equality of women. Hopefully, the SDG will contribute to the establishment of this balance. And with this, I conclude my presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to apologize. I didn't have much time to learn the slide and I made a mistake in the beginning, but I hope it was still comprehensible. So I would like to give back the word to Simona from now on.
Thank you, Kitty, for sharing Eunice's works, and thank you also to Eunice because she sent us her presentation, which was very interesting, as Tamara and Carlotta. So I open to you the conversation if you would like to comment or to ask some questions.
Yeah, I have a question to Tamara Rátz. Your presentation was very interesting. And you have said that there was a very less self-confidence among the girls, okay, who were doing internship, right? So what do you think, according to you, what would be the strategies adopted to increase their self-confidence?
Well, in a classroom setting, we try to encourage them to speak up because, for example, it's a very common situation that, I don't know, there are 12 girls in a group and 2 boys, and the boys will be doing all the speaking. If there is group work, they are going to represent the group. So I try to push the female students in the group to take a more active role because I think they need practice. And if they start practicing while they are at school, hopefully when they get to an internship, by then they have already spent 3 years at the university, so maybe they have gained some practice in, how to represent their own opinions, how to speak up, how to ask questions, etc. Yeah, so we try to in a classroom setting, we really try to make sure that the female students don't let the male students do all the work that's that's visible, because very often there is a group, for example. The female students do most of the work, the groundwork, the data collection, etc. But than the male students. We have less male students than female in a tourism program. They get, they present, so they get more practice, for example, in presenting, and so they become more self-confident, and it's like a circular process. So the only thing we can do is to really, and also to consciously remind the female students of this fact.
That is very important, to consciously remind them.
To show them that, show them the situation, to show them the interaction, what's taking place in the classroom, that look, there is again the two gentlemen in the group who are speaking again and again and again, and maybe they understand that they have to speak up, otherwise they will always be pushed in the background, and then the situation will be what Eunice talked about, that they will be employed but at a lower level, lower positions, lower pay, etc. And then I was also thinking about when Carlotta was talking about her project, which is an amazing project, that does anybody in this group have ever heard about projects that were created to boost the self-confidence of men? Because it's not necessary. So we really should get to a point when it's not necessary to create projects, special projects for women either, but obviously now they are necessary.
I would also add, Tamara, I would also add to work on emotional intelligence, because working on emotions, and for women is very easy to work on emotions, and to take out emotions is to help them really to be much more self-confident.
I usually also try to share my own experience, because when I was a teenager, I was super shy.
Oh,
really? Yeah. And there was one point in my life, I was at third year at university. I was really shy, and I was always afraid of oral exams. I was afraid of presenting, public speaking, etc. But I always wanted to travel. So I had this, this dynamic that I applied for any kind of scholarship, and I went there, and then I was sitting in the corner, really hoping that nobody would ask me any question. And I felt really annoyed at this. I didn't enjoy this, obviously. It was a really uncomfortable situation. And then there was one opportunity, a French training program. I think it was 3 days or 4 days. And they promised that the best participants, the most active participants, would get a scholarship to France. And I decided, okay, I go this program, nobody knows me. So no matter what anybody is asking, I will raise my hand. First I raise my hand, then think about the answer. And then say something. I mean, it cannot be that stupid. Okay, maybe probably it's not going to be the best answer ever, but it's not going to be super stupid. So why not? What do I have to lose? And I did it for 3 days. By the end of the third day, I got so active that I actually had a huge discussion, quarrel with the leader of the program. So I didn't get the scholarship. But I had 3 days to realize that actually it's fun to be active, that I enjoy being present. I enjoy being engaged. And I cannot lose anything because, okay, if I say something that's not perfect, so what? But I really had to put myself in this situation. So sometimes I tell this story to my students as well, so that they can also try. At school, they can try. I mean, nothing happens. And maybe when they get this feeling that, oh, this is working, this is fun, this is cool, then they can build from there.
Yeah, I think you can add the emotional intelligence, or maybe take some workshops in your school. That would also have boost their confidence level. Yeah, it's very important, because they are going to take this confidence in future, in their jobs, in their life, and many other things. So it's very important.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Thank you very much, Madhuri and Carlotta.
I would have a question also to Tamara. I was just wondering if you were considering to extend this to other cultures, because in my hypothesis, maybe depending also on the culture, the girls would act differently. I mean, how they are raised and what kind of models they had in their country, in their culture. I'm pretty sure that there are specific countries where the girls would be more quick to react than others. I don't know if you were considering that.
Exactly. Well, that's actually one of the main reasons why I wanted to bring this research project into this this discussion, because I kind of hoped that there was going to be someone in another culture who would be interested in you know, replicating this study or working on this study, because yes, I truly believe that it very much depends on the cultural background. Yeah.
Thank you, Tamara, because thank you, Kitty, for your question, because I come from a different culture. I come from an island called Sardinia, which is in Italy, but we have a different culture because we are an island. So in Sardinia, actually, it's the contrary. So women, we have this self-confidence because our culture is based on women's power. We have Grazia Deledda, which was the first Nobel Prize in Literature. And everybody were astonished, even Luigi Pirandello, another writer, another Nobel Prize, because a woman won a Nobel Prize. No, it was in the 90s, in 1926. And so I come from a different culture, and we can see men, their lack of confidence. On the contrary, women, we are a bit like stronger, self-confident, and as you said, we go, you know, we put ourselves in things. If it goes well, good. If it doesn't go well, it's okay anyway. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, if there is nobody else, if there are no more questions, I think we can move on to the next subject, which is female travelers. And our presenters, now we have two. We have Mona, Erfanian, Salim, which I would like to thank, well, even with all the organizers, because the image we have to represent this event comes from Mona. Thank you, Mona. She's the artist. Thank you very much. And then after Mona, we will have Kevser Cinar. Thank you, Kevser. I hope I pronounced well your name. Okay, thank you. And so, Mona, you will start with gender and tourist needs. Thank you, Mona.
Hello, my sound is okay? Okay. Hello to everybody. Thank you for this interesting event, and happy Women Days to my friends, women and men, everybody. I want to share with you some of my experience in my job and related to, and my research in related to women experiences in urban spaces. Please let me a little minute for sharing my screen. Is it okay? Can you see this? Okay. I want to talk about gender affecting tourist needs for public open spaces. This subject can be very simple and obviously for everybody, but I want to show you something about my result of my research. Sorry, the slide cannot change. Okay. This is this subject started from, this is a part of my results in my thesis research 2010 when I wanted to find tourist needs in urban open public space. In this research, I tried to compare tourist needs and factors affecting tourist needs. I wanted to know which kind of factors affecting on tourist needs in urban open public spaces. One of the factors that show us a strong affecting on the tourist needs, it was a gender. You can see a group of demographic factors, and this side is tourist needs. And the gender was, I found many interesting results about gender, and in this subject, 3 kinds of needs have a good and interesting relationship with needs. Gender can affect on physical comfortable needs, and also social interaction and privacy. It was started through my study and my focusing in this subject. In this presentation, I don't want to show you this subject as a positive or negative sign. Just I want to show you a differences between the needs. These differences can be related to the tourism destination, and it can be related to the person, the culture background of the tourist, and their needs in new country and the destination courses. These subjects, these pictures, it's for showing the very differences between the needs. First one, what about physical comfortable in travel, and how we can pay attention, how we can apply these needs for all kind of favorite and needs. And the second one about the needs is safety and security. Everybody know one of the big problem about the women in all public spaces generally is about safety and security. Is I think is very general, but the degree of this, the level of this problem can be very different between many countries and many cultures. By the way, in a travel, this problem can be very stronger than down in the hometown, because everything is very new for you, and when you are in a new city and new urban spaces, everything can be more difficult than for you. And the last one is about social interaction. About social interaction, the women and men can be very different in new places and in new, different cultures. I think it can a little bit relate to the subject of this the lecture of Tamara. I think self-confidence about the women generally can be different, and when they are in the travel, it can affect the level of their interaction with the other people, and adaptation with the social situation, social environment. On this base, I want to discuss about in urban public spaces, the needs are different between women and men, and all urban stakeholders and tourist planners should pay attention to gender as a factor affect on tourist needs for public open spaces. About planning of the in urban planning, urban designing, and tourism planning for the urban destination. Applying the gender perspective to cities reveals how a spatial structure and social structure are mutually constitutive. Thank you. I think the time is finished, and I thank you everybody to pay attention.
Thank you, Mona. You can stop sharing your screen now.
Sorry?
Thank you. It's okay.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So now I give the microphone to Kevser. Thank you.
Thank you. I am Kevser Cinar. Most of you already know from the EATSA organizations, but for the ones I have met for the first time, it is really great to see you all, and especially today is the Women's Day. It is another great honor for us to be together with you. So I would like to thank first Enrico to give that idea, organize that meeting, and then Simona, Kitty, and Sanchi for this meaningful event. I would like to share and talk about one of our ongoing research, so it is still ongoing, about the solo female travelers. And through the in-depth interviews with 34 solo female travelers in Turkey, and through the use of the thematic analysis in the research, we aim to understand the travel motivations, experiences, and some constraints faced by the female Turkish solo travelers. And actually, when we look at the literature, mainly there are a Western country information in the literature, so not much information about our country or the Asian countries. Also, this gap needs to be explored in more detail. Since we have not completed the study, I will just share some information, some part of that study. As we all know, the earliest known female solo travelers generally were pilgrims making the journey to the Holy Land or the spiritual and religious places. And since the end of the 19th century, there has been a set of social and political facts and changes that increase the female participation in this contemporary travel. And the concept of female solo traveler then becoming more and more popular due to this changing social and political situation of women, and which makes it a relevant tourism segment despite some constraints. And also we see nowadays the women are preferring to travel alone more and more compared to men. And the reason why they travel alone, why women prefer to travel alone, is not because they have no other options, or not because they are single, or for the other, reasons, but because they are motivated by instinctual drives that allow them to search for new things and for some challenges, to expand, explore, and learn new things, new cultures, and maybe to have new networks and socializing. So this conceptual work we are planning to do, it is based on an overview of literature and categorizes a number of psychological factors leading women to travel alone in Turkey. While preparing that research, we have found really interesting statistics about the demographic travel trends of the female travelers. When we look at those information, the travel companies dedicated to women-only customers have hugely increased by 230% over the past few years, and 80% of all travels decisions are made by women. And in Turkey, for example, the 60% of the women who travel are solo travelers. They prefer to travel alone. And again, the 60% of women, the solo travelers, will travel again in the following years because they really enjoy traveling alone. And regardless of what is going on in the world, all the constraints, all the negative assumptions, it has been also found that 86% of women state that they are not afraid to travel. So, and also when we look at the age level, the 75% of those who take adventure, cultural, or nature trips are women. And 80% of solo female travelers are over 45 years old. Also, when we observe this statistical data, it is obvious that the senior citizens are one of the fastest growing demographics in the sector. And older women, generally, they are leading the way to travel, but mainly it is happening in the Western countries. Unfortunately, in Turkey, we didn't have an exact statistic about that. And also, there is no age limit of women who like to explore, as it is also common for millennial women to go abroad. And women taking vacations has recently become synonymous with self-care, and it is an opportunity for wellness, freedom, empowerment. And research show that women enjoy more adventurous travel, and they like to immerse themselves in a foreign culture more than men compared to men. And also, when we look at these traits and motivations of the women, they generally tend to be more empathic and emotional and imaginative, whereas those who traveled in group, for example, they have different traits. They are more doers and lovers of material comfort. Also, the solo travelers, female travelers, tend to have some certain characteristics, such as they have more self-confidence and more adventurous, as I told before, and they are content with their own company, and they are independent and spontaneous, and sometimes they are also more sociable, but it is not always the real truth in some cases as well. And they must have a feeling of trust in their own abilities, qualities, and judgments, because they can arrange their own trip from the beginning till the end. While researching for the market for solo travelers, it became apparent that most of the articles published about solo travel, about the women solo travel. Why is there such a huge research about female solo traveler, not men solo traveler? The most obvious answer for that may be the safety concern that surround a solo female as opposed to a solo male when traveling abroad is more apparent. And also this is simply because males generally do not have to worry as often about some certain dangers such as kidnapping or rape or sexual harassment, etc. However, this stigma has not prevented many women from traveling alone. In fact, many articles and novels specifically encouraged women to travel alone and gave tips on how to stay safe during their time abroad. Even though each woman has their own reasons and motivations to travel alone, it is possible to recognize some common features and motivations, especially. The main motivations that lead women to choose to travel alone generally are found as the need to get out of their comfort zone, to develop a sense of autonomy and individuality. And they travel for the search for something much more valuable than relaxation and leisure. And also these women want to evaluate their own values, develop their identities, and acquire knowledge. And in the literature also, most focus on the experience of the solo female travelers are generally Western tourists. There are few studies on Asian tourists or the other continents, despite the size of the market there. So it is important to focus on those places to better understand the situation of the solo female travelers in those countries as well and their experiences. And also we found another important gap in the market. The needs of female travelers have not become the focus of the attention in the ever-growing market. So this is what I'm planning to share with you, as I am one of the solo female travelers. I'm really enthusiastic to explore that topic more. And since as the women of the world, we all desire to have an equal future free from stigma, stereotypes, and violence, a future that is sustainable, peaceful, and with equal rights and opportunities for all. And to get us there, the world needs women at every table where decisions are being made. So thank you for listening, and happy Women's Day again.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevser. And it was a very interesting subject, very useful. We all agree that safety is very important for us. And so I open the time for questions or comments, etc. If anybody would like to say anything.
I would have a question. Kevser, you said that those who travel alone are more, how did you say that they are more, it was not word brave, sorry, but like more extroverted, confident. Yes, thank you very much. So my question is that like maybe it's not shown in the data, but in your opinion, is solo traveling, the people who are confident will more likely to do solo traveling, or solo traveling is also building up your confidence?
I think both of them are important somehow, because as Tamara mentioned about herself, I was also a really shy student, and I never dreamed that I can travel to another country alone, even thousands of kilometers away. But you know, some occasions pushed me to travel alone. Actually, when I started first, it is not my own decision, and I'm not just really self-confident to travel, but because of that business trip, my friend who was planning to travel with me could not make it happen at the last minute, and I had to go alone. And then I had to experience this, but I realized while I am experiencing this traveling alone, then I started to feel more confident somehow. At the beginning, I was really afraid. I have some doubts, some concerns, some, you know, other, because of the family, they have some other concerns, they don't want me to travel alone, so on and so on. But I realized after that, when I started to travel alone, I feel more self-confident, but also generally the ladies, the women who feel more confident also travel to or attend to solo travel. So the both ways are important somehow. But according to the research findings, what I found in the literature, mainly, and most of them said that they try to understand if the self-confident ladies prefer to solo travel, and the answer is yes. Mainly, the most of the percentage have this self-confidence, but it is not always the case, like in my situation.
It's really interesting, and I personally, from my perspective, I feel a strong connection between Tamara's research and yours, because when I was in high school, I was super introverted. I would talk in front of my classmates because I already knew them, but if you wouldn't talk to me or wouldn't introduce yourself to me, I wouldn't have a conversation with you because it's scary. And when I was 16, I traveled alone for 2 weeks somewhere, which boosted my confidence a little bit. So when I went to the university, I was like, okay, no one knows me. So I'm going to apply and do a big presentation in our biggest auditorium for just 5 minutes. I was shaking like the microphone, but when I survived that one, then I did other speeches and I felt more confident. So I traveled more alone. So I feel like these two things is like super connected in like you fake it till you make it. Even when you are not a confident person yet, then you just fake to be one, and then at one point you're not. So anyways, it's just I personally, in my life, I saw both of these researches appear. Thank you very much for it.
Thank you for the question.
With a colleague, Emma Champagne from Portugal, we did some research on loneliness associated with solo travel. And in some of the interviews, we did interviews with male and female solo travelers, and it came back a few times that solo travelers seem to be attractive because that's what you see in the media, that you have friends who are traveling alone, etc. So for some people, it's a big step, like you said, Kevser. So they actually build up this process that they start with a weekend trip to a neighboring country, you know, from Hungary, a short trip to Vienna, and then you survive that. Then maybe you can go on a holiday that lasts a week, and then you survive that, and then you can move on to a longer trip. So sorry, so for a lot of people, they actually have to build up their confidence.
Yes.
But then, as you said, the more you travel, the more situations you survive, problems you solve, etc. And then you realize that, wow, this is fun. You're enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah, and also in the book by Dunn, titled as, if I'm not mistaken, Loneliness as a Way of Life, he stated that for being alone is not only the worst we can experience, it is also the inevitable moment of some of our greatest experiences. It teaches us how to become who we are, actually. So this is something like that. How can we expect to fully give ourselves to someone when we don't fully understand who we truly are? So it gives us an opportunity to become more independent, not dependent to someone who will travel with us or who will be our companion during our journey.
But I think it's also very much dependent on the spaces, the places where you are traveling to, and the spaces what Mona was talking about. That if it's a familiar space, then like for example, when I first went to Morocco and I was staying in a small local hotel, and to get out to anywhere, I had to walk these narrow streets, and it was like a labyrinth. And for me, that was not a familiar space. So I had to keep reminding myself that this is a normal space, a normal urban fabric for a lot of people. So just because I'm not used to it, it doesn't mean it's more dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But for somebody who grows up in a similar urban environment, for them, even in a foreign destination, that would be familiar.
Mm-hmm.
So would feel safer and would feel different. So that's also a very, very interesting question, how public spaces affect our feelings when we are traveling alone.
This is exactly what I wanted to refer to with Mona's presentation, that Kevser, you said that like the women dare to travel alone, but as Tamara said, it really depends to where, and I think it's also as you said, familiarity, and maybe also like language. Like if I know, I understand a little bit of the language, they can't sell me. I understand what the taxi driver is talking about. So in some ways, I have to feel safe. And I also think, if I may add, that I think it also depends, as you said, on the spaces. That like for a city trip, I would dare to go to Morocco, but for example, maybe hiking in the mountains, I wouldn't dare to do alone. And I traveled for more than a month alone in Japan with a backpack, and I felt really confident and safe doing that, and also I understand a little bit the language. I knew what they're asking me. But maybe in another country, I wouldn't dare to do that alone, either because the reputation of the country is different, or because I don't speak anything of the language. So a lot of things can, I guess, influence.
Yes, you are right. Mm-hmm.
But we should travel together more on solo.
Definitely. We should. Oh, we should travel.
Yeah. Just travel.
So do we have any more questions on this front? Are we good to go? I think this was a very, very fruitful discussion, much needed for all the women here, because on some level, all of us. Am I audible?
Now you're good.
Now
yes.
It's okay.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. My internet is it's as bad as COVID today. So let's move on to the next section and the last one. We're going to be talking more about life and academic experiences. And we have two more women we're going to hear from. And to you, Mariana.
Hello, can you listen to me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, can I speak, Sanj? You're finished, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's because the internet is not very good. Well, so I would like to start by saying thank you so much to Enrico Panay and the team that organized this event. I'm so grateful to be part of this experience and to share with other women and also men my experience, my personal experience. I decided to do a more informal presentation because I think that it's a good contribute to explore my most intimate feelings about my life as a tourist manager and a tourist promoter and a tourist agent, and how everything started, and really to follow the challenge that you gave me, and to talk about how tourism changed my life. So like most of you here, that's just, it's very interesting to understand that we have all very similar experiences and our base point is almost the same, and how we upgrade while we go along the way in our lives, and how we overcome obstacles and difficulties. So I was also a young, vulnerable woman when I finished my high school and university. And then I had, with time, I had to build my self-confidence, my self-esteem, my emotional intelligence during the time. But when I finished, I graduated as an architect. And I mostly worked with buildings and stones and monuments and palaces and big farms and that belong to national heritage. And I was diagnosing and I was making inventories of pathology in buildings, and I was building forms, and I was registering numbers and numbers and numbers. And it looked like I was in a capsule, and that capsule didn't allow me to work my emotions as I should, to become a more trustful, confident woman. So by a chance, because of a crisis, an international crisis in 2010, I end up on having to change my life and starting to work as a manager in a hotel in a touristic area here in the west coast of Portugal. It's a touristic area that has millions of tourists every year. And I was managing a manor house of the 19th century with a team of women that were very strong being, and very trustful and very authoritarian, even though. And I was a young woman that had to, that a big challenge in front of me, that has to have to manage a team of very experienced women older than me, that were the cleaning lady, the government, and the people, the staff that work in the house. And I remember, like if it was today, how I changed my mindset by being a scientist that was studying only numbers and working with a computer most of the day. And when I had to welcome all the tourists that were in that house daily, and more and more and more. And the first high season that I had to work, I immediately, and we said this already today, that fake until it's real, I think it's the expression that you used. I had to practice my smile. I had to practice my emotional intelligence, how I spoke with people, how I was welcoming people, how I had to make them smile, say a joke, talk about my emotions and the relation that I have with my heritage and the passion that I have for my country and the history of my country. I had to open myself to the world. I had to start sharing my emotions, and the emotions that I was getting from my clients opened a window in my mind that after 5 years of being a manager in that house, I was a totally different person. That made me myself evolve to a more tolerant human being, to a more to someone that wants to know the history behind the face of the person, to understand the culture and the reasons why a person reacts in a certain way. And of course, I opened my mind in a certain way that I was never again the same person that I was before I started that job, that position. Well, but after I finished that experience, because I wanted to have my own job and my own profession, I, as a creative industry promoter, and also with my experience on tourism as a manager, and I studied after that, I studied more, I studied cultural management, I studied also tourism, and I had an entrepreneurship award, well, a lot of experiences in my life. I end up in creating my own business as a consultant in creativity, culture, promotion, and communication and culture. And I had the chance to start doing theater performances with a friend of mine that has a little school of theater in my community. She's a wonderful woman, and she has this power to touch people by the intelligence, emotions, that's how the way how she speaks with people, and how she is able to create a connection with those people. And after that, I had the experience to work in a project that is called Creator. And I understood that the majority of the people that was working in crafts and also in creative tourism were women. I did a research with the university in Coimbra, and we did this creative tourism investigation, a research where we understood very easily that women are in the leadership where it matters for crafts and folk arts, and also how they are more keen or more available to work with ceramics, or to work with knitting, or to work with, I don't know, different kinds of crafts and artistic works, and how one of the things that it's the majority of the reason why creative tourism is so important is that we have to immerse into the locals' experiences that are willing to share their knowledge with tourists. And the majority of those people that work in creative tourism are women. So there is a relation by this connection that women have, as Tamara was saying, this adaptability, affectuous relation, tolerance, and also creativity. Finally, I would like to say that my city, as a city creative city of UNESCO, is also a report that is being done by the municipality. And we are creative city for crafts and folk arts. And one of the most frequent craft in my city, it's the ceramic works. All the objects that are done especially by students of the School of Arts that we have in our city, are done mainly by women that are working in this very fragile and sensitive material, porcelain or ceramics. And it's also interesting to understand that the relation between these women that work in the craft sector and tourism, it's also something that I understand as an important strengths opportunity for my community. And dare to say that the same way that I understood how tourism opened a window in my mind is the way how I think that tourism can open the mind of everyone that aims to explore the world or to travel alone. That's something that I would never dare. I don't have that confidence inside my own, but I really want to try one day. But just to say that I really understand why the research that is done into the tourism sector, it's really, women are an important part of the tolerance, and the connection that we all have in the world together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mariana. That was really, really nice to listen to. I relate a lot to that story, but I will discuss more on it later. I would like to invite Dr. Madhuri Sawant to speak next, please.
Good afternoon, everybody, and very happy International Women's Day to all of you. First of all, I'd like to thank Enrico Pinay, the president of ESTA, for giving all of us the opportunity to speak on different topics related to women and tourism. And I also thank the Kitty, Simona, and Sanji for taking efforts. You know, they're sending us mails, they're checking us out, they are checking our spellings and everything. Thank you so much, all three girls. And today the topic, like only 5 minutes are given. I'm not going to rush, but I'll try to just brief about my topic. My topic is related to research areas in women and tourism. This is, I have done some review of literature, and I have just discussed some things with my students, my friends, and came up with some of the research areas where the students, or maybe it's a Facebook Live program. So like the tourism stakeholders, the students, the academicians, everybody will be watching us. So I think this would be a best opportunity for the tourism students who really want to go into research work, especially related to women and tourism. As you all know that, you know, the most important sustainable development goal of UN is related to gender equality. And hence, a lot of work is still needed to be done in different parts of the world, which is related to women empowerment or women in tourism. There is a need to broaden the concepts and issues related to women and tourism. Now, let me tell you the figures. I have not got a PPT, but I'm just mentioning 3 figures by UNWTO. That is only 14.7% have lesser pay gaps. This is the in general. But when you come to the countries like, underdeveloped countries, you can see the pay, gender pay is again very, very too high. Then you have 23% of the women who are tourism ministers, and only 54% of the women are employed in tourism businesses. So there is a lot of gaps over here, and a lot of things needs to be coming up. A lot of research is needed in this area. So my first research topic, which I would like to suggest, it is related to women and tourism and economics. So of course, many research has been done. It is not like it's a very new topic, but yet in some countries, these topics are very relevant today also. Number one is the pay gaps. Like I told you, the percentage of pay gaps is really very bad. Then employment opportunities to the women and entrepreneurship of women in tourism. These are, of course, the broader areas, but if you just narrow it down, it would be like employment or maybe promotion opportunities of women in any, in their workplace. It could be like, they have been, when many women are not getting the promotional opportunities like the men do. It is like stereotypical thinking, like, okay, the woman like 23, 25 years, okay, now they'll be married, they'll be having children, it will be a lot of disturbance. And all these things are still there, all these thinkings are still there. And that is the reason why, women are lacking promotion in tourism. And of course, the pay gaps are there. This is broadly, I would like to tell. The second research topic, which I felt like needs to be worked on is, for example, see, when the visitors, they visit to the places, they again have a very stereotypical images of the woman. Like, for example, if you go to a hotel and if you see, if you think about a manager, you always think a man. You never think, okay, a woman is a manager. Or maybe if you're thinking about seeing for entertainment, or if you're going to see a dance, it is first thing which comes to your mind is, okay, dancer will be a woman, it won't be a man. Okay, so all these things are still there. We really need to change. Now, my point over here is that I've come up with very two important research topics. Like, if you're developing an infrastructure, especially the intangible products, then here you can highlight the women over there and try to empower them. Like the topics, it could be importance of gender in developing tourism, intangible infrastructure, or maybe product. Or the second one would be influence of tourism in changing perspectives about gender-based cultural biases. This will definitely help in women empowerment. The other topics which I feel are yet to be taken into consideration are safety, crime, and of course, sex tourism is there, which is one of the important social impacts where we can see all over the world. The next topic would be gender sensitive legal policies. These are lacking in many countries. Next would be gender equality training. This is not only training for the men, but I really feel women, but I feel the man should be given training, like how to behave with the woman, how to behave with her in the workplace, or what is the position, or like what are the sustainability measures comes around her. All these things need to be done in every industry. The next is, I think the topic is related to women and travel journalism. I was just thinking about this and I felt like, okay, there are, travel writers, bloggers and all, but I felt, not much studies are done on women influencers. Like when I see, the top women influencers and the comments, what they get, those are probably, many people criticize them. This is again, the stereotypical mind. Like when a woman is traveling, she's posting her pictures, she's taking equal efforts, to do the work on that, to post on it, right? So she really needs to be appreciated. Like everybody over here are from academics. I think there could be lots of topics which can come up related to influencers, which are women. The other topics, I think, like we are discussing, I was discussing with Tamara and with Kevser. Yeah, self-confidence, soft skills is very much necessary for women. Like to tell you, Tamara has told about her shyness, as well as Kevser, and as well Kitty also has told. Let me tell you, I was also very shy and I really didn't have confidence. The first time when I traveled was directly to South America, Chile, alone. And coming from a country, conservative country like India, when I went to Chile, it was a cultural shock for me. But to tell you the fact, the positive things were, it changed my life. I saw the woman over there. I saw the woman on very big posts. Of course, India is a very progressive country. We are having women on a very big post, but day-to-day activities, like I'm staying in somebody's house and the way the women were approached, the way they were treated, okay, especially cooking things, and now all that, talking, conversing with them. So I really felt, okay, there is a gap, and that changed my mind. That is still influencing my kids and of course my students also. So here I can confidently tell that myself, a woman traveling alone to South America, having a lot of fear, staying there for 2 months, robbed once. It was a terrific experience. And that gave me a lot of confidence, going to the police station, complaining, blah, blah, so many things happened. But it came out to be, a very positive things, and which I'm again delivering it to my students and my children. So of course, when I'm talking Kevser's presentation about solo travelers, this could be a very important topic to be discussed. And also Tamara Rátz, a topic like how to build self-confidence. I've never thought, nobody will think like, okay, the internship students are there and let's do work on, what is the difference between men and women. So it was a very good topic. I'm pretty much impressed by this important topic. Tamara, I would like to work with you. Let us talk about that later on. And of course, the other topics which come up to my mind are, apart from the soft skills to the women, are, the product development for the women travelers. Okay. And of course, the promotional activities. What are the branding strategies and everything to promote the single travelers, the women travelers? I think the CSR activities, that could also be one of the topics. That is corporate social responsibility. It just stuck to my mind right now, like how the corporate responsibility can promote, the single woman travelers traveling. They can pay them, they can be confident in them because there are thousands of stories, women traveling alone and gaining confidence and all these things. Of course, it depends upon the places where they're traveling. But I think these were some of the topics which I could wrap up in 5 minutes, I suppose. And again, I wish you all a happy Women's Day. And I suppose, I think, we can have such other coffee labs and have some more discussions on the topic so that we can actually come up. Today, we are here like 10 to 15 women, but we can really sit, have coffee at our home and discuss on a topic where we can really work on it. Okay. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you, Dr. Sawant. And well, we're free to discuss now. I would say it's an open floor, but we have an open screen to discuss now. So if anyone has any questions, you can go ahead.
It was very, very, very inspiring, Madhuri. Thank you very much. It's always great to listen to your enthusiasm and energy. And yes, I would love to talk to you about this research. Yeah, it would be great.
Sure. Thank you so much, Tamara.
Hello, everybody. I wanted only thank each of every one of you for your commitment, and it was a very great discussion to listen to. And I wanted also give a special thanks to Mona for the painting, and a huge thanks to Kitty, Simona, and Sanchi for organizing this event, and for the interviews they are doing in research. And as suggested by Tamara, I hope this will help them to establish themselves in the future. I hope we are doing well, Tamara, as you said.
You're doing so well, yes.
And I also come from Sardinia. I can confirm what Simona said. That Sardinia is a matriarchal island where women have the power. So that's it.
I know where to move now.
I know that I have to thank already Yanki, because that I know that their next publication will be a picture of us. She's our official photographer general.
Sure.
And I have to thank, I take these opportunities to invite you to contact Kevser, that is the chief editor of our journal. Alexandra, she went away because she couldn't attend anymore, and Madhuri and myself. We are trying to run a journal, so any kind of scientific contribution, or I don't know if we'll open even to comments, not scientific, but open comments, but we are thinking about other solution. But anyway, any kind of collaboration, even as a reviewer, it will be welcome, I think. And I very appreciate the work of Alexandra, Madhuri, and Kevser that are doing an enormous job in running a scientific journal. It's a very challenge. And there also we have the majority of women, and I'm very glad of it, even in the journal. And I wanted to say only one thing, if I can. Today is not the day of woman as the opposite sex to men. Today, I think, is the day for women and men to stand up against the injustice and gender inequality. I know it because I'm working a lot on AI, artificial intelligence, to mitigate the bias of artificial intelligence in the future. And a lot of bias are related to gender unfairness. So today I don't want to talk to you women. I would like to talk to the men that are listening to our debate and to suggest to them a book that I just finished to read and that I found very interesting. I don't know if you can see it. It's Invisible Women by Caroline Criado Perez. And I will share the title offline then. And Invisible Women is an eye-opening book that provides a startling perspective on the unseen bias at work in our everyday life. So this book shows us in how the world has been built by men and for men, and how women systematically have been ignored. So it exposes very well the gender data gap. So for us, men, there is a lot to do because we must work together to build a better world. And I think we must become aware of this kind of difference and trying to mitigate this kind of difference. So I thank you very much for your commitment today and your participation. I wanted only say that. Thank you again.
Thank you. I would just like to hear that travel is not just a concept, it's an experience, it's freeing, it's like it's escaping, it's liberating in a way, and all of us have looked forward to it, all of us have for it, and all of us have learned from it, and especially being women, and as Enrico pointed out, showing his book too, that in the early days, we did not have the chance to do so. We were very oppressed in a lot of ways. And now that we have the chance, we are taking it and we're running with it to every place we can go to. And I feel really privileged and proud to be sitting here with all of you from all over the world, being able to discuss about all of this. Just to conclude now, we started with talking about how privileged we are to be able to get an education, like Kitty said. We learned about street views and how it works on Google Maps, something that all of us use, and how much it is contributed by women. We all shared our experiences and discussed about self-confidence and how important it is to build in younger women, in female children, and how hard it is for us to not have that early on, but it's really nice to see that all of us have grown in a way, and tourism and travel is one way that helped us through it. And solo travel is always scary, but you got to try what you got to try. You have no way around it. And it is genuinely the most liberating feeling. And seeing all you brilliant women here, I am so glad that we not just learned from you, but we can take your example and teach other women around us, educate them and show them that, look, it's not impossible. We are trying to do it. And these are the women who have done it, who are showing the way. So thank you, everyone. And a very, very happy Women's Day to all of you. Thank you for being here with us and giving your time. I know it's my afternoon, but thank you so much for taking the time, for making presentations, for sharing your experiences and stories, and being an inspiration to us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Santi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this wonderful.
I hope we all stay in touch. And for everyone who has more ideas they would like to share and discuss, you already have all the contacts. And I think we're going to see a boost in the research now from all of us.
Yeah, anyone who are
so much more topics.
Anyone who are interested in, for example, solo travel, just contact me and we can have further discussion about that.
I would like to just say one thing, like as a part of ESTA family, as a member of ESTA, We have myself and Enrico, we are really trying hard to develop the LinkedIn page. Okay? So please forward it to your friends and try to promote that page, because we really want to come up with new concepts and we want new followers to it. So please help us out in that. And of course, Enrico has already told about the journal. So we are looking forward to have some good research papers as well from all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, thank you to everybody.
Thank you.
I think
Bye.
we can go now. Bye.
Yeah, we're all free to go now. Have a lovely week.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Happy Women's
Bye-bye.
Day.
Happy Women's Day.
Thank you.